I think we live, baby. I think we are live.
It's go time, man. We live right now, coño.
It's go time, coño. Coño, it's good seeing you, coño.
I hear, man. I hear with the family, man. Hood Stocks, baby. Goon Squad. Let's go.
Yeah? Is it time to go, coño?
It's time to go, man. What are you waiting for, coño?
Well, shit, let's go then. Like, subscribe, baby. I know it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But it's game time. Let's go. Yeah. Hood Stocks. We back. Yeah. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. That's how we circulate in the universe, baby. Why the fuck did I do it like that? But I did it like that. It's okay. Check it out. Welcome to Hood Stocks, everybody. That is a new little intro fucking track. No vocals on it that we got here at the podcast now. You know, let me know if you like it or not. We'll fuck with it. Today's podcast. Okay, today's podcast. Where we at? Today's podcast is sponsored by Tired of Overpaying for Your Herb. Hit up East LA Exotics. They specialize in bringing the finest herb and cannabis products at unheard of low prices. Check them out. They are located at 6009 East Olympic Boulevard, East Los Angeles, baby. Or check them out on IG at eastla.exotics. Or matter of fact, call them right now, dog. Why you bullshitting? Call them right now, dog. Crank call them. Act like you ordering a pizza. You know what I mean? 562-713-6484. Let them know Hood Stock sent you. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Origin Bakery Equipment. Origin is spelled O-R-I-G-E-N. Bakery Equipment, your one-stop shop for all your bakery restaurant equipment needs. Home base to wholesale, commercial, bakeries, new and used. Yes. If you follow them on Instagram, baby, yes. Origin Bakery Equipment LLC. There you go, right there. And then you can pull up on them too. Damn, I'm a little bit of rusty, and I'm a little bit of fucking up these ads, right? But it's okay. You can pull up on them in South El Monte at 10441 Rush Street, baby. And we are also sponsored by the most gangsters fucking clothes in the world. That's FB County USA. I mean, go to their website. And when you're ready to check out, guess what you can do? You can punch in Hood Stocks and get a percentage off. Yes, sir. We appreciate you guys. Yeah. Feels good to be back, baby. Feels good to be back. We took a little break, but it's okay. We back. This evening, we have a very special guest, founder of the Right Home Project. Everybody give it up for Carlos Cervantes, baby. Let's go. Damn, I didn't think the studio audience was going to stop clapping, dog. These motherfuckers are just going wild, dog. How are you doing, brother?
Good.
You doing good?
Yeah, brother. You know what? Firstly, thanks for having me. This is very special for me to be talking about the project, to be talking about my trajectory as a formerly incarcerated individual, coming back into the community, making sure that we continue to take care of our people that are still behind the walls.
Shit, let's go, homie. Let's go. Let's go, Carlos. You motherfucker. No, just fucking you. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. The Right Home Project. I mean, where do we start? Do we start at the Right Home Project or do we start Carlos? You know what I mean? Because we need to know your journey. Because your journey consists of getting to the Right Home Project, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't want to jump ahead of, you know what I mean? Like, whoever opens up a book and starts on chapter, too much information. God damn it, Lucky. You want to get yourself hit on the neck. With a spoon. A sharp spoon. All bullshit aside, brother. Carlos, thank you for coming on the platform. I see your sweatshirt. You represent the ARC. We support the ARC program.
Thank you.
Tremendously, bro. Like, we love, like, ARC, man, you guys got to look it up and you guys got to support. But what you can do is you can just watch this and you'll be supporting an ARC just like that. It's crazy. I feel like we're part of the ARC program almost, bro. You know what I mean? We're just kind of like a, you know, like they're not going to claim us. They're like, hell no, we ain't got nothing to do with hood stocks.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we ain't got nothing to do with them motherfuckers because what they aren't representing us, but it's okay. We love having the men for the program because let's just dive into this shit. Let's not bullshit. Let's get straight to business, my G. Tell us about yourself, bro.
Damn. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I talked about Carlos Cervantes growing up. Just like a lot of us, you know, my parents migrated from Mexico at an early age. And when they migrated, you know, we're going to talk about sentences eventually. So they got sentenced to making sure that they take care of their families back in Mexico, which is my grandparents, my tias, my tios. And growing up here in LA wasn't easy. You know, growing up in LA was like all they did was work in the sewing sweatshops, right? Getting paid like 7 cents per shirt. They had to do like 3,000 shirts a day to make sure that we were getting fed, that we were paying our rent, that we were surpassing already in the inner city, right? Like who doesn't talk about poverty, right? Who doesn't talk about what poverty looks like, you know, when people migrate from other countries. And immediately, you know, I seen a difference in my life. One, I grew up without my father. Two, my mom was a single mother. And that came with a lot of negativity. That came with a lot of anger with herself, resentment, hate. And that hate was instilled on me as a child, right? Physically abused, mentally abused, growing up. And it didn't really help that I resembled my dad a lot, you know, like I resembled my real dad. So my mom, you know, gradually gravitated this hate towards a young little kid like me, right? Little by little, you know, we seen the effects of being in the inner city, living well below minimum wage type of employment. So growing up, we had to move a lot. You know, we went from LA to San Bernardino, back to LA to make sure that we were surviving, you know, to make sure that we were taken care of. My parents had to work, you know, 2 or 3 jobs. I hardly seen my parents kind of growing up. And when I did, you know, it was for ass whoopings. It was for, hey, you didn't do the chores, so now, you know, you're responsible for this ass whooping. So that was the essence of Carlos Cervantes growing up, you know, in this state of mind of fear, of you know, being scared all the time. That took me all the way to maybe the age of 9. Where I finally decided, you know what, let me take myself to the streets and see what the streets had to offer. You know, and that's when I started smoking weed, right? And when I started smoking weed, for me, it really eased the pain that I would feel at home. And I won't have to worry about that so much. And that weed just turned into other hard drugs, into the streets, and little by little, you know, this kid felt, you know, accepted in a place like the streets.
Yeah. I had a, people hate when I do this, but I'm gonna do it. My mom hated me because I reminded her of my pops, which was a bad divorce, bro. That's hard, bro. That's tough. Do you have kids now?
Yeah, I have two beautiful children.
I mean, when it comes to raising kids, and I don't mean to jump too far ahead in your story, bro, but do you apply the same foundation in regards to, you know, what is expected of a kid. You know, you have chores, you have this, that. I mean, it seems like they were heavy-handed with you, correct?
That's correct.
At a young age, you know, has that kind of like transpired over to the way you parent?
I had to take a 180.
Okay.
You know, I had to take a 180 and do the opposite of what my mama did with me to my children.
So they don't got to do shit.
So not that they don't have to do anything, but they don't have hardcore rules where you have to make sure that you get things done. And, you know, I don't lay a hand on my kids. You know, I think using my words, creating a relationship with them, it's what's most important. You know, I don't see parenting as, hey, let's create all these rules and all these tasks for you to make sure that you do everything that you're supposed to. You know, if not, you're not going to get an allowance. If not, you're not going to get to live with me. And no, I create guidelines. I create a relationship. I create a guidance. I'm a guide counselor with them. You know, I'm a coach to them. You know, I'm not a parent where I'm strictly authority, right? And that's what happened with me growing up.
Yeah, authoritarians.
Yep.
A dictatorship, that's a word I was trying to look for. Some people are raised in homes where it's, you know, there's got to be a balance in the system. You know, it can't be just a dictatorship, right? You know, just constantly just fucking on them. I mean, I'm kind of like on the fence with the old school style, the new school style, bro. You know, I have a 6 and 7 year old, bro. I'm telling you, dog. 6 and 7 year old dog, little gangster ass girls, bro. They get the job done, bro. Why? Because daddy taught them how to do it. Wash them dishes. Now, they may not be perfect, bro. I might have to get some of them dishes out of this shit and redo them, dog. But it's the action. It's the, you know, that counts to me. You know what I mean? You tried to get the job done, but one day you will be able to get the job done. But when you, I mean, what's more important nowadays, bro? This is a good topic, bro. What's more important nowadays, bro? You know, is teaching our kids life skills in regards to being responsible, being cleanliness, you know, rewarding them with that, because that's what I do, dog. My kids are spoiled rotten, bro.
Right.
They get whatever the fuck they want, dog. And my kids can open up a little bit of purse, and it could be some of these purses they got, dog. I'm trying to think of right now. Koala. It's got a koala face, dog, and it's got a strap on it, and it's fluffy, and it's really cute, dog. You know what I mean? They can open it up, and they can pull out a wad of money, dog.
Right.
And you know what? That money was earned. They earned that money, bro. 6 and 7 years old. This is how I do it, bro.
Right.
6 and 7 years old, dog. Now, I might be a little bit heavy on the shit, but I feel like, dog, with teaching them these qualities, these life skills at a young age, dog, honestly, bro, I feel like it's more important than the shit they get, the bullshit they may be getting at some school, dog.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think that you teach them the basics of responsibility, completing a task from beginning to end, and it's okay. They're 6 and 7, dog. It doesn't matter how, if the task wasn't completed correctly, it got completed in their state of mind as a 6 or 7 year old, right? You know, that was good. That was amazing. You did a great job. Bop, $5.
There you go.
$10. That's what I do, bro. That's what I do. But not everybody might agree with that type of parenting, bro. Honestly, bro, I'm not impressed by the school system, dog.
Right.
You know, I'm not impressed by the school system. Fucking stressing these kids out with all this fucking homework at a young age, bro. Piles of homework, bro. Little kids, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Teach them to, you know, read, count. That's it. That's all I need from you motherfuckers. You know? And still, I gotta read and, you know, do shit like that with them on the side. That gets done, you know? But this is, you kind of hit something that I'm dealing with right now, bro. You know? And so, on that note, I'm not trying to take from your interview, bro. But I just feel like these life skills, these small tasks at a young age is very important. But there's some people that don't think that, you know? I'll be honest. My girl doesn't really, she's not impressed by it, you know? By my tactics, bro.
Right.
And so we have we do that, dog, at times. But that's okay because we're human and no relationship is perfect, dog.
Right.
You know? But that is my philosophy, dog. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna get through this school shit. This school is not gonna make you feel like you're littler than the kid that's getting the straight A's.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter, dog. You can be a straight A student all your life, dog. You know? That doesn't mean you're gonna, like, how many people have all these, ooh, I'm going off on a rant right now. I'm sorry. But how many of these kids have all these, grown kids have all these plaques on the wall with no fucking job, bro? Right. They can't land a fucking job, bro. You know? I think life skills and these little tasks are key to raising kids. But what do I know, dog? I have kids, dog, that hate my fucking guts, bro. You know what I mean? Why? Because I got their mom pregnant, dog. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we didn't know who got this female pregnant, dog. You know what I mean? Am I doing too much, Preston? Bring it down. Thank you, brother. Anyways, dog, it's something that I'm going through right now, dog. So you kind of hit me on a little something right now, dog. I'm heavy on getting little things done. But you said you did a 180.
I did a 180.
So what does that consist of regarding to raising kids?
Building a relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Making sure that we're there guiding them, making sure, you know, I don't see myself as, again, this authoritarian that it's going to instill these rules and regulations. I see myself as a coach. You know, I see myself teaching my kids, you know, one step at a time, how to do the chores, how
absolutely.
to do laundry, how to cook, how to wash the dishes. You know, these are all the things that I do today.
So we're doing the same thing then.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing. I just have a different way of saying it. I have a different way of saying it, you know? Obviously, coming out your mouth sounds a whole lot better, appealing. You know what I mean? Coming out my mouth sounds like maybe abusive. I don't know, you know, depending on who's hearing it.
And I think it's because of the way we grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like today, like I want my kids to follow their dreams. I want my kids to strive to live a better life than what I did. And that's why I say a 180, a complete, let me go that way, because I'm not going to go on a 360 and come back and try to make a full circle out of this. It's not gonna work out. You know what I mean? And as a parent today, as a grown person today, I understand what my parents had to go through. I understand that it's because of the lack of education, because of the lack of resources, because of the lack of actual help and support from family. I mean, they didn't really have their family. Their family was in Mexico, right? And now we have to grow up in this situation, you know? At one point, when we moved to San Bernardino, it's a crazy story, right? We moved into a garage. It was like 7 of us. And, I mean, we all know what that means, right? You know?
What does it mean? Not everybody knows what that means. What does that mean, bro? I know what that means.
What that means is, like, that's almost every single family that we could think of today that grew up in our era of the 80s and the 90s, the 70s. You know, people that were migrating into the United States, they brought everyone with them. You know what I mean? And they had to sleep. Still to this day, I know people from Central America that sleep 10 people in one bedroom.
Check it out, bro. I was looking to buy a house in Compton, dog. Right? Looking to buy a house. We're looking at houses in Compton, bro. And the closer you get to the 710 side of the Compton, the rougher it gets.
Right.
Let's be real about it. If you're from Compton, you know that. I'm not even from Compton. I just know it from looking at houses. So the closer that I got to the 710 freeway, Compton area, we went into houses, bro. And there were these houses, bro, on the outside, looked like a regular home, right? On the outside. Until you walked into the house in Compton and you seen that these houses, bro, were structured in a makeshift Mickey Mouse type of way for not a single family home. These houses were converted into apartments, bro.
Right.
100% apartments. It blew my fucking mind, dog. Why? I didn't grow up like that, dog.
Right.
Okay. I was fortunate enough to not have to grow up like that, dog. Okay. But I have a lot of friends, and a lot of friends, family, right? They grew up like that, dog. So growing up, I was exposed to that, dog. Where it's like, whoa, this is crazy, you know. But that's a fucking reality to a lot of people's lives, and it was a reality to your life.
Yep.
That's tough, bro. That's tough. So back to you're living in a fucking garage, bro.
And we're in San Bernardino, which is even worse, you know, because if anybody knows San Bernardino County, it's one of the poorest counties here in California. I think they're United States.
Yeah.
And you're influenced, right? At that time, you know, you had gangs, you had drugs, you had violence, you know, and that's what you're growing up in. Like this is my reality today, you know, is that was the kid growing up and looking for an escape. And where did I find it? I found it in the streets.
What did the streets give you that your family couldn't give you?
I think it was acceptance. I think they didn't beat me up the way my mama did, right? Like they didn't, it wasn't like I was going to get my ass whooped, you know, because I didn't do a certain thing in the streets, you know? And so I think one of the first things that stopped was, you know, this violence. That's the first thing that stopped. And then, but it escalated, right? It escalated that people from the hood, people, again, inner city hoods, people low income, people in poverty levels, people with low education. This is where I was growing up in. Now I'm becoming that. I'm becoming that kid. I'm not really caring about school anymore. I want to make sure that I fit in the streets, you know? And so I'm amongst, you know, older people, teenagers, you know? And I always say, like, hey, it was pretty cool just handing the joint to a 9-year-old kid. And that was cute. You know, that was it. And now seeing the way that 9-year-old, and I remember all this stuff. That's the hard part about this story is that, you know, you remember it. And this is what I grow up with now. And I'm very blessed to have been now on this side, continuing that path. And if it wasn't for those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today, right? But not knowing that weed turned into heroin, into crack cocaine, into meth, my boy, you know? That's how you start growing up. And it's easy, and it's careless for me to just be like, oh, well, you know, it's like you kind of adapt. When you go from weed, you kind of start. No, you go into the harder drugs, and now you're a person that's lost. You're a person that needs help, and it's not gonna happen at home, and it's not gonna happen in the streets anymore. It's not gonna happen in school anymore, right?
It's up to the state system now, huh?
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
13, 14, 15 years old, that's it. When I hit freshman year, I dropped out of high school. That was it. Why? Because I was more worried about, you know, trying to get high and trying to party than to really be honest about what I wanted to be in my life. I didn't have a pathway. I didn't have a vision. There was no, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm 13, 14 years old. I don't see myself anywhere because this is all I know by now.
I knew where I was going to be at that age, and it's where I wanted to be at that age. If you'd asked me around that age, bro, little after that age, where I was going to be at, I wanted to go to prison, bro. You know, I wanted to go to prison. Well, I didn't want to go to prison, but my pops told me when American Me came out, he took me to see that movie, right? At the Eagle Theater on Yosemite and Eagle Rock Boulevard when it was a movie theater. He says, hey, and this is before I got into the hood. He said, that's gonna be you,
right?
And I thought in my head, I was like, oh, yeah, well, shoot, I mean, how's that gonna be me, bro? You know what I mean, why you telling me that? Why you doing me like that? You know what I mean, and I was honestly, I can remember that day, dog, and I was speechless, bro. You know what I mean, and not speechless because I was just like, oh, I can't believe you. I was just like, I was pondering the thought, like, is what he's telling me is true? But I guess he's seen in his wisdom, you know, even though there was a lot of ignorance within him at the time, but that he's seen what track and where I was going, and then I found out that that's where I wanted to go. And this is what we do on the podcast, bro. You know what I mean? We have a conversation, dog. It's an interview, but it's a conversation at the same time and shit, dog. But yeah, the typical kid on the streets, dog, if you ask him where you're going to be at in 5 years, what's your 5-year plan? I mean, the kid that's raised in Rancho Cucamonga is going to be like, well, I'm going to be in college at that time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be trying to, they're going to know what they're going to do. And that's in a setting that is proper, right? In what we think in society, right? It's not necessarily correct, but it's what's proper and what's, going to put your kid off in the right direction. Mm-hmm. As parents, that's all you want to do. We got to get them through high school and we got to put them into college. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? For me, dog, we're going to get you through high school, but we don't even know we're going to deal with college. With me now at this point in the time of my life, dog. You know what I mean? Because I with my kids, I don't want them to work for money. I want money to work for them, bro. You know what I mean? I want these girls, these little white girls, bro, to be bosses, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can be bosses is risk potentially equals wealth. Education equals security. Uh-huh. But you need a certain amount of education if your guidance, right, is not adequate, right? Is not up to par, mm-hmm. right? Moms and pops, right? And I feel like everything that I've gone through, bro, I feel like my guidance is going to be up to par. And it's going to put these girls off in a direction, bro, where they can be entrepreneurs, bro. They can be entrepreneurs and they don't need that fucking stupid ass plaque to hang on the fucking wall and then try to fucking find a job with that fucking certificate, dog. That's just me, dog. It's not necessarily correct in a lot of people's eyes. I get that, dog. You kind of hit a little thing with me that I've been really just thinking about lately with my girls and just with life in general, bro.
Right.
And with a lot of literature that I'm reading, and I'm trying to educate myself to be a good guidance, like guidance counselor for our kids, right? And it's up to us, right, to set our kid off on the right path. But back to you, brother. If they would have asked you, you didn't know what the fuck you were gonna do. You're on the streets, dog. You're looking for acceptance, dog.
Yeah, and that led to other stuff. That led to crime. That led to the same hate that I feel that was coming from my mom. Now I have that. Now I have that anger. Now I have that animosity, with my mom, with my family, right? Because I was the kid that grew up, first of all, secondhand stores was our thing, Going to after school programs to get food, going to the church to get food. That was our thing. So we didn't grow up like lavishly, going out and having dinner at this 5-star restaurant like I could do with my kids today. Yeah. Right? But I understand all that now. Like as a parent, I'm 38 years old now. I'm married. I've been married for 17 years. I know how it is to be in a relationship. I know how it is to really be a provider for the family. I'm not perfect though, but because of all these things that happened, so it was a childhood. Then when I hit the streets and start doing, this whole anger thing starts coming out, I start getting in fights. I start getting suspended from school. So I got kicked out of one of the schools, one of the first high schools that I went to. The second one I got kicked out of. I ended up in continuation school. By the time I was 16, I ended up locked up. Central Juvenile Hall. Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. This kid, with no direction. And I did have a stepdad. I do have a stepdad, had my stepdad, but my stepdad didn't really take the responsibility as a dad, as one of mine. I love my stepdad, and he knows he's ride or die today, but the responsibility fell more on my mom because she was the one that was supposed to take care of us, right? Like, hey, you take care of your 2 boys and I'll take care of my 2 boys and we'll be all right. And it wasn't all right, because my little 2 brothers got the Super Nintendos, they got the clean clothing, they got go to school shopping and all that. And then my older brother and I got the secondhand store. Got the hey, let me go ahead and give you these shoes, you know, and you do whatever you want. You got to go clean them, you know, and all that stuff for us to survive, to look all right, to be there, you know. So when I end up in juvenile hall, that's when my reality changed. As a person, as a kid, you know, as a teenager. When I realized that my life was a little more serious than just a kid growing up and with all these circumstances. And I also realized, my boy, that everyone that was in juvenile hall had gone through the same things I'm going through. You know, everyone there is going through the same problems that they had growing up that I'm going through. I realized that I ain't the only one. At one point, I thought, man, am I the only one going through this shit? Am I the only one living this type of life? Well, how is that really fair for me, right? As a kid. So the problem was that at that moment, when I realized that it's not only me, you have hundreds of kids in juvenile hall that are all facing life in prison, you know, 15, 20 years in prison, you know, for making a mistake, for making a bad choice, you know, having one of these tantrums because of how you grew up in the streets. And now these are the consequences, right? And it wasn't just about me, you know, going into juvenile hall. It was, you know, you're facing a serious crime. You're facing 35 to life. When they're telling me that, I'm all like, I don't even know what that means, you know? Because the judicial system, the way it's set up, as you already know, and many other brothers that have been here before me, you know, I got tried as an adult, right? And now I'm looking at life way different.
So let's back it up real quick. What case did we catch?
I caught an attempted murder case at 16.
And so were you affiliated from a gang?
I wasn't affiliated from a gang.
Okay. But you were hanging around all the right dudes at the time, which we know they're the wrong dudes now, right? The right dudes in your heart at the time that potentially, you know, influenced you to this path to potentially, I don't know what the case is, to commit such an act of a crime, a horrendous crime, right? Can you speak on that?
I could speak on it a little bit, my boy, you know, because it kind of holds no merit.
It doesn't hold no merit, but it holds merit in a story of an individual that has an ending that is amazing, like yourself, right?
Right.
It holds merit in that category, and there's might be kids watching right now that maybe be in a situation that you were in back then and contemplating certain things and hanging around a certain people that are pushing them in a certain fucking direction, dog. They could potentially, I mean, it will resonate. It doesn't resonate with you right now as a grown man, a changed man.
Right.
But you got to keep in mind of the audience, bro.
Yeah.
The audience. We teach. We don't teach. We demonstrate. And demonstrations could potentially lead to teachings, right?
Correct.
You know, in personal stories, bro. You know, and so I get that, bro. That holds no merit. Absolutely not, dog. To me and to you at this stage in our life, fuck no, dog.
Thank you.
Fuck no, dog. Get the fuck out of here, dog. You know? Nah. We don't play that shit here at Hoodstocks. You guys know that. You know? But for the ones that don't know that, we share the story that resonates and connects to a certain age group, right?
Yep. State of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, with that said, I'm going to ask you again, bro.
Let's do it.
What was the situation, bro, that led you?
The situation, hanging out with the wrong people. Hanging out with the wrong people, with the wrong crowd, being around the wrong people, right? Being around people that at one point, you know, being drug addicts, You know,
What kind of drugs were you doing?
I was crystal meth out the game.
Come on, baby.
Right?
You know what I mean? Shit. Crystal meth. And it ain't the chandelier hanging from a rich person's house.
Yeah.
You know, that's not crystal meth. That's a beautiful chandelier that's got all these crystals that reflect from each other, and it gives us an array of light in this beautiful situation. But this isn't the crystal meth. This isn't the crystals we're talking about, right? You know?
Yeah, we're talking about the ice. We're talking about the glass. We're talking.
What does that do to you? What did it do to you back then?
And for me, I that was my scapegoat. After the weed, after being in the streets, that was my scapegoat. Kicking it with the wrong people, doing things that I wasn't supposed to. Stealing from my own parents. To make sure that I got high. Being in the streets, being scandalous, right? Like you start growing, all this. You got all this rage. Now you're taking it out on the streets. Now you're taking it out on your own people.
Yeah, it's everybody's fault except mine. Accountability is out the door. As a child, accountability, nobody at that age and that mindset, ask a kid what accountability is at that mindset. They probably don't know what that means. Accountability, right? And when I say that, I mean in regards to taking that on everybody else, right?
Right.
Yeah, so what? You were heavy-handed with me on this and that, but do you actually, do our parents actually deserve this shit?
Right.
Fuck no, they don't. But it's a reaction of a young kid, swinging at the world.
Yep.
Blaming everybody else for the shit, even though sometimes, the table was set and it wasn't the proper setting. But, there's some kids that go through that shit and they don't do that, bro. Let's be real about it, dog. There's some kids that are raised in fucked up households, dog, and it fuels them to be fucking lawyers, mayors, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? But in the perfect environment in the city of Los Angeles, or San Bernardino, there are kids that are gonna get that energy and they're gonna direct it to a life of crime and of self-pity and fuck everybody and this is your fucking fault. And they're gonna lash out at the fucking world. I was one of those kids, bro. And you were one of those kids.
And it's because there was no confidence in this kid no more. There was no self-esteem in this kid no more.
Confidence, self-esteem.
There was no self-worth in this kid no more. There was no future. There was no 5 years for this kid. There was no 5 years. There was no tomorrow for this kid. And that's how life was.
Yeah.
Because growing up in this environment, not only with in my own household, but now turning it into the streets. Because everybody knows you're tweaking. Everybody knows you're scandalous. Everybody knows you're going to be out there robbing someone, stealing a bike to go get a 20, right? Like all these things people start knowing and you become that. And there was no more tomorrow. There was just, let me get high today and that's the bottom line. Yeah. And how do we think like that? And how do we become that? We don't have any self-worth.
Let's go, baby. Preach.
And getting into how the crime happened, I ended up getting in the car with two of the other people that I knew in this car. We ended up driving around. I had got jumped, from other scandalous motherfuckers like me
right?
in the streets.
Other scandalous motherfuckers. Yeah. And other wounded souls.
Yeah. Because we were all the same. Everybody in the street was the same.
Yeah.
And at that point, they decided, hey, man, let's just go and see who the fuck fucked you up, right?
And now we're at a point of taking out our losses on each other.
Yeah. And we're the point where we got off the car like, hey, man, these motherfuckers are people, dog. Shots were fired. I was the one that got caught. 3 months later, I got caught up, And now I'm sitting in juvenile hall facing 35 to life.
How old are you?
I'm 38 now.
No, how old were you?
I'm 16. I was 16.
16, you're facing 38 to life?
35 to life.
35 to life.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I said your age. 35 to life.
Yeah.
How does a 16-year-old deal with 35 to life?
And it's the craziest thing, my boy, because I'm sitting in a juvenile hall on LP, and you're looking at yourself. You know, you get undressed in front of all these probation officers. You know, you got to squat and cough and all this shit, and you start realizing how much your life is worth. At 16 years old, regardless of the situation, I started talking to myself about, what am I really worth today? And then I spent 3 months asleep. Withdrawals, I'm coming down, right? I'm getting clean, I'm getting better, right? And then something very unique happened to me, was that I'm sitting in a juvenile hall. I'm thinking clearly because I'm clean now. And I'm not getting the physical abuse from the streets. I'm not getting the physical abuse or the mental abuse from home. I'm not high anymore. I'm not running from anybody. My whole environment changed. And I'm getting better. That's the crazy part. That I feel like I could do something with my life now.
But at this point, it's too late.
It might be too late. At this point, it just might be too late, because I don't know what 35 to life means. I don't know what the court system looks like. I don't know what a fucking public defender is. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm 16 years old. I don't know any literature on how to be an attorney or how to really represent myself and how to really be there. You know, you go to court, the only person that shows up, my mom, right? The person that I grew to resent and hate at one moment in my life was the only person that would show up to my courts. And she couldn't understand what the courts were talking about, what the judge was talking about. You know, when we talk about, the district attorney, el fiscal, who the fuck is that puto, right? And your public defender's there trying to talk you into, hey man, we got to talk about, what your future is going to be looking like. And I'm all like, I don't know any of this stuff. And little by little though, because I was clean, because I was really taking in, now being away from the drugs and all that stuff, now I'm really getting to learn a little bit about myself. Now I'm getting to learn that I'm a scared little kid,
Let's go.
And this whole drug epidemic stuff that hit most of the people that I know, and every single person that was in juvenile hall at that time, because these juvenile halls, when I landed in Central, it was packed. KL, MNN, GH, packed. These are all high-risk offenders.
HOR units.
HOR units who are going to adult court to get a real fucking sentence of a life term. Not up to your 25, not, hey, do juvenile life and you're going to get out eventually. You could go to board, and if you do well, if you do all these programs, you're out. No. There was no reality. There was Proposition 21 who said, yeah, anyone that commits a violent offense automatically goes into adult court, And what did that mean for my family? What did that mean for me, right? The crazy part about it, yeah, it got a little better because I started understanding what I was doing wrong as a kid, And now I had the opportunity to go to school every day, because they make you go to school. You got to wake up when they tell you to wake up. You got to shower for 2 minutes when they tell you to shower. You got to eat when they tell you to eat. When in reality, I needed a fucking boot camp or something. When in reality, I needed a check. Like, hey, dude, we're going to get you out of this environment and put you in an environment where you're going to be able to grow. Where you're going to be able to get better. Where you're going to be able to get clean. We didn't have that. No, we had juvenile hall. And we had prison. And we had YAs. That's what we had. Instead of, right? 6 months into my juvenile hall experience, you got to get down, bro. You can't be called names out of your name and blah, blah, blah. You got to get down. You got to start, fighting people. That's the nature of the beast. You know? And it was scary, right? It was scary because now you're sober. Now you're not on drugs. Now you can't be Superman. And it was the scariest thing ever, you know? But then at the same time, you start building these relationships with the people that you're doing time with. You start seeing their families, whoever comes on that Sunday, that one day that you get to see people from the streets, you know, the grandparents, you know, the foster care parents, you know, the tios, the tias, you know, and you start seeing that environment change. It becomes a brotherhood, my boy. It becomes a way of showing community, right? Another way of being accepted. Another way of people getting the love that they needed. You know? And 9 months into juvenile hall, I get my freaking GED, my boy. I realized I wasn't, you know, I was able to learn. I'm able to take a few tests here and there, right? I'm able to really build myself. My whole experience with court, first deal that they brought me, it was 19 years with 2 strikes. I told myself, what am I gonna do with 19 years and 2 strikes? I'm 16 years old. I'm gonna go to prison and I'm gonna catch a 3rd strike. Because that's the nature of the beast. You gotta get involved, right?
Acceptance.
And though I didn't gangbang in the streets, guess what? Prison is a whole lot different. You gotta get involved. You're gonna get handed a set of rules. And that's the reason I took a 180 with my children. Because not only did I grow up with the set of rules and regulations, you know, and getting checked, right? But now you do that in prison as well. Now you have a set of rules that you have to follow. If not, you're gonna get checked. You know? And the reality was for me, I was trained in my childhood to go to prison because I knew how to really run these rules. I'm not gonna break these rules because I know what's gonna happen. You know? So now, a year and 10 months later, I get offered a 12-year plea bargain. 1 strike. I took that deal. That day, I signed. I went to the box that day. The next day, I was in the county jail, the juvenile module, 4600. And whoever knows that module, you know, some of the boys that are listening today, 4600, you know, because I couldn't fathom the thought of going to a trial and losing and getting a life sentence. So I took that 12-year, the biggest decision of my life, 17 years old, taking this 12-year deal. And let's see how that, you know, continues on my life. Let's see how that grows on my life. 17 years old, I was already in Tehachapi State Prison. 18 years old, I get bumped into the 4B really quick. And now you're doing time with grown people, you know? And the thing is, fear drives the soul. Fear drives a person. Fear would drive you to either destruction or to really overcoming, you know, your challenges, to really overcoming your doubts, to really, you know, making sure that that person is being built. And I started embracing the fear, you know, because at one time you think about it, you're in these 4 yards and you think, man, you know, I'm going to get into a situation, I might end up dead, you know?
Yeah. Shit got real quick.
Yep.
Seems like when you're talking about this, it almost seems like just looking at your eyes and your face, bro, that it's taking you back to a pain that what you once felt.
Definitely, bro. Like I said, you know, we don't talk about this. You know, this was kind of stored. It was put away. right? And I'm the type of person, right? Like I've been out for a long time. You know, I ended up doing my 11 years. I got out when I was 27. I've been out 11 years. You know, working, making sure I'm providing, making sure I'm getting better, right? And then you really drive yourself back to that story. You know, what made you who you are today? It's seeing the countless brothers and sisters that are going through we're going through that same process. Our communities that were destroyed, going through the same process of incarceration, you know, being in the soapbox and leaving your people behind, you know, leaving your people behind and letting them fend for themselves. And then you got to fend for yourself. Because in the whole reality of all this, you got your own number. You got to be your own self.
Yeah, it's not like they say, it's not a we number.
Nah.
Homie, I ain't hearing a we number. I'm here on a me number, homie. That's the kind of lingo that they talk about in the penitentiary at times, depending on what situation it is. You know, but at the end of the day, you commit the crime, nobody else is going to do the time except you.
Yep.
You know, it might have been for a gang. It might have been for whatever. But at the end of the day, whatever it was for, and when the conviction, when that shit hits the motherfucking thing, so to speak, analogy, that time is for you and not anybody else. I mean, it seems like, does it make you emotional going back to and thinking about that?
Of course, it does, brother. Like it really, because it's part of the life, right? It was part of the trajectory, you know? And so that...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you were on the other side of the fence of the judicial system and you had the 16, 17-year-old Carlos Cervantes in front of you, now you're on the other side, right? Now you're in control. What would have you done with yourself?
I would have looked at different options of reform, different options for people like Carlos at that moment, you know, who were probably misguided, lost, right? Who were obviously in an addiction, which was a fucking epidemic. You know, you would look at different options, programs, you know, boot camps or whatnot. You know,
I heard you said that too, boot camps. What would a boot camp consist of?
A boot camp would definitely consist of having counseling, having mentors, you know, having executive coaches, you know, trying to find the niche of who that young person is, you know. We didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure out who our people were. We spent a lot of time punishing our people. And for me, even to this day, I think I took the 180 and I treat my kids that I treat today because of that. Because I wouldn't want them to get treated as punishment. I grew up being punished. I went into the system and I got punished. I went through the prison system and I will continue to be punished. I got out of the system and I was on parole, continuing to be punished. These punitive damages that happen for our people, a lot of our people cannot come back from. You know, a lot of our people go through the revolving door because of that. They call it being institutionalized. No, it's a form of life. That's all they're used to knowing. It's being punished in these systems, in these institutions, you know? And I was one of those people. And for the life of me, every single day, I had to talk to myself. Say, hey, brother, you got to get up. You got to run these rules. You got to work out. You got to educate yourself. You know, you got to look at the other people as people. You know, they're not an inmate. They're not a prisoner. You know, they're people too. They have families too. They have a mother and a daddy too. You know, they have someone that cares for them as well, right? And my compassion started. You know, my drive started. My kindness started. I had my first cellie from Anaheim, lifer, on his way to board. I walked into his cell. I'm this 18-year-old kid, you know? I don't have a life term. And he's looking at me like, oh, shit, you don't have a life term? Fuck. You know? Like, you need to get with the program. You need to start, you know, following these rules. You need to get up at 4:30 in the morning and do the rutina, right? And the crazy part is I believe that I didn't have anything to offer to this man. I was just a kid, because that's what the system makes you. That's how they built you, right? And I had just got my GED, like I had mentioned earlier. This man, older man now, he's going into the board and needs a GED. So I start tutoring this guy. And in return, this is the guy that taught me the ropes about prison. This is the guy that taught me how to get up in the morning, you know, at 4:30 in the morning to do rutina and make sure that I'm physically active. This is the guy that laid down the rules for me. This is the guy that told me, hey man, you follow these rules. And what I ended up doing, I followed those rules like a Bible. That was my Bible. Because one, I didn't want to get hurt in prison, bro. I didn't want to get stabbed in prison. I didn't want to get beat up in prison. You know? I wanted to survive in prison. I wanted to make sure that I did everything in my power to get out of prison. Because I honestly believe I didn't really belong there. Did I make it happen? Yeah, I'm here today, right?
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
And when I realized that I was able to help this older gentleman, that's when my trajectory started, when I was helping people. I went from that prison, I went to Ironwood State Prison, where I was quickly involved in the college program. We piloted a college program for youth offenders. I was a young kid. I was still a teenager, technically.
Yeah.
Enrolled into college. You know, 4 years later, I get an associate's degree. You know, now I'm freaking changing the way I think. I'm changing the way I look at myself. You know, I'm looking at this kid, you know, in the mirror. I'm in prison. And I have the fucking self-esteem that nobody could shut down. I have the confidence that nobody could shut down. You know? My mama started forgiving her for the stuff that happened to me as a kid. You know? I started healing from all these things that happened to me, all these traumas. Right? And I told myself, 20 years old, I had the second decision that I made, the biggest decision I made in my life. I realized that nobody's gonna live my life. Nobody's gonna pay my rent. Nobody's gonna get me out of this situation. Nobody's gonna put these books in front of me and I have to learn. I have to do all that. Nobody's gonna give you anything. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you shit in this world.
What's your message for people that feel like they are owed something?
You gotta get out of your shit. You gotta look yourself in the mirror. You gotta see what's missing from yourself. You gotta really dig deep into who you are to really realize, you know, that nobody owes you anything. The way I simply put it to kids today, I know it's a little fucked up. Nobody's gonna wipe your fucking ass. You know? Nobody. And the moment I realized that was my life in that cell, with that cellie, you know, whoever that cellie was at that moment, it was one of the biggest pivotal moments of my life. From there on, I grew. I started growing. I ended up getting married in prison, you know, to my childhood friend, my neighbor. And when I got married, my daughter was conceived in Ironwood State Prison. Because, you know, you get conjugal visits, right? You know that, right?
I got conjugal visits at one point in my doing time. And it was a female that I got pregnant before I had got busted. And I told her that I was going to get busted. I said, and when she found out she was pregnant, I said, hey, I'm going away. I said, you should probably abort that baby. You know, that's my son, Luciano. So you should probably abort that baby. And she said, nah, I'm not going to do it. Not too many dudes has stuck a dick in me and got me pregnant, so I'm going to take this shit and run. She didn't say those words. I just added that right now. She had the baby. I went away for 5 years. So, and I got conjugal visits from her. And it was the worst, one of the worst, not one of the worst, but top 10 worst experiences that I've had is getting pussy in prison with a female that was upset with me for being in prison. She said, I'm out here taking care of your kid, and you're in there having fun with the homies. So when I went out there for the conjugal visits, you know, you go out to a trailer, you fill out a slip that the prison provides you all this food, right? And so you're in this trailer. Let's paint the picture of a conjugal visit, right? A lot of people may not know about it. It's still a part of the prison, but it's a gated. They got these like trailers. Mind you, I got married in LA County Jail to this female. Go to prison, get the conjugal visits, and it wasn't a good experience, bro. You know what I mean? I could have, as a young dudes, right? Young fucking alpha males. You know what I mean? You want to fuck, you want to bust the nut. You right? You know, I'm not speaking for you, brother. Speaking for myself, dog. The mindset at the time, you know, go out, I'm gonna get some pussy, right? I'm gonna get away from this yard. I'm gonna get in a trailer with food and a kitchen and you know, caged in this trailer, right? And some people that are not getting conjugal visits, they're just like, you lucky motherfucker, dog. God damn it, bah. But check it out. If the relationship healthy, it's severed, relationship is not good, because who you were when you went in to who you are now and to where we're at now, right? It's different, you know what I mean? Because when I was out, you know what I mean? Fucking this female on the fly, high as fuck, you know what I mean? No hands, pop. I mean, no hands, you know what I mean? You ever get on a motherfucking roller coaster ride and you put your hands in the air? That's how it feels when you high and you in the hood and shit. You on a roller coaster ride, you're not holding on to nothing. You got your hands in the air and it's the free fall and you're loving it. It feels good. But now you're in this situation. I went out to these conjugal visits, dog, and they weren't good. The pussy didn't feel good. The fifi felt better. That's hard to wrap your mind around, right? And I'm not saying this is how you felt, because you might have been in love. The neighbor, the church girl, the whoop-de-whoop-whoop, everything is perfect. But it wasn't like that for me, though, bro, the conjugal visits, dog. You know, and when I went back, dog, I felt, I didn't, oh, lucky you just got back from a conjugal visit, homie. You getting pussy for 2.5, 3 days, dog. You got to feel like on the top of the world. But I went back with just a lot of like heaviness, bro, because it wasn't right. It wasn't the same thing that I had when I was out. You know? The conjugal visit, there's a newborn baby right there that you don't even know. You didn't even fucking, you weren't in the hospital with, bro. You know, and now there's this girl that you're laying with that you once laid with, bro. It's not the same girl. Now this girl has responsibility that she's taking care of for you. and she's got a chip on her shoulder. You know, it got real for her, right? And so seeing you is not the same way she saw you when you were the big dog in the neighborhood and you're pushing through her. I used to push through the spots with her, and I'd be like, hey, homie, don't even look at her, dog. This is on me right here, dog. Ain't nobody else fucking her but me, dog. Why? Because me and all the homies fuck the same hyenas, dog. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, don't even look at her, dog. This is me right here, dog. And she pulled through, and she felt like she was just like, oh, shit, I'm a fucking, you know what I mean? I'm on a fucking Rose Parade float. You know what I mean? This feels good. You know what I mean? You know? But then you get yourself in a situation like that, it's very unhealthy. It doesn't hit the same. It doesn't feel the same, dog. Shit got serious, dog. She's taking care of life while you in here having a good time with the homies, right? Quote unquote, so to speak, right? That's what I experienced with the conjugal visits, dog. You know, but maybe I'm a toxic dude, right? We gotta be responsible. You know what I mean? Narcissistic men gotta be responsible for your toxicity, right? This is me speaking in a glass dome, so to speak, right?
It's true, my boy.
You know, and that those experiences destroyed our relationship when I got out. Because she didn't forget, I didn't forget. I got out, and didn't last nothing, dog. Didn't last nothing, you know. And this is life of incarceration, right? These are lessons that we gotta learn from, right? You know, not to do again. Don't do that again, Lucky. Or, you know, I don't mean to take you from your story, bro, but it really resonates with experiences that I've been through, bro. And all experiences and situations do not necessarily connect with the next man's experience. So your experiences were they fruitful?
Somewhat, you know. First of all, when I got married in 2005. Wedding lasted 15 minutes. You know, you go to the visiting room, you get a shot at 3 Polaroids, 15 minutes.
This is in the state system.
It's state system, yeah. This was in Ironwood State Prison.
Yeah.
And you're done, right? Then after that come the family visits, you know, the conjugal visits. You have to look forward to something, you know. One of the things that I started learning is looking forward to something other than what that was in that cell, what that was in the yard. And this was one of those things, you know. Both of us mutually said, yeah, let's get married, you know. And at one point, you know, we had decided we didn't want children until I was released, if I ever got released. But, you know, spirituality works in mysterious ways. My daughter was conceived. By that time, I went to a level 2 yard, which is CRC here in Norco, and I was on a collect phone call when she told me, hey, you know, I just had the baby, healthy baby girl. Her mother is the one that cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
It was one of the happiest moments of my life, but it was also one of the most torturing moments of my life, because here I am, right? Like, I'm in prison, and then my kid, my daughter's born, and it's kind of the same trajectory as it was with me without my dad, right? So now you have all these freaking emotions coming through. You have, you know, you can't get out of the situation that you're in. You're in prison, you know, and you can't make the situation better for her, right? You can't be a provider. You can't be there, you know, holding your baby. I had to wait 2 weeks to hold my baby in my arms. You know, that's another really unfair thing about the system, you know. When you're talking about families, when you're talking about the connection that's going to make you a better person, that's what you take away from, right? You know, you want people to be better, but you don't provide the necessary
Tools.
and programs that people need, right? This 2.5 day thing, it's cool, but it's just not enough for a lot of children growing up, right?
It's not, bro. I remember going out to the conjugal visit, dog, and fucking this female on a foreign mattress in this bungalow with a fence around it, crying baby on the side because the baby wouldn't stop crying, you know. This is gonna sound fucking ridiculous, dog, and I'm not gonna say it, dog, but it wasn't pleasant, bro.
Yeah.
It wasn't pleasant, dog. And I remember that to this day, dog. Because you know, when you're in an alpha male environment, a prison environment, and the boys see you leaving to a conjugal visit, they're just like, if the ones that love you are so-called love you, right? The homie love, right? It's a different type of love, right? If you know, you know. It's like, that's what's up, dog. Go have fun, do your thing, dog. You know what I mean? I every time I came back from that, I felt like I had a deeper hole in my heart, dog. A deeper, just like, I didn't really understand, bro. Like, a deeper, like, it didn't help me, bro. But maybe this was an unhealthy relationship, bro. That when I got out, obviously it just, you know, it did what it did. Like, if anybody with the right set of mind would say, like, bro, you're not gonna last a day with this female right here. This is what happened while you were busted, this, that, blah, 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 whoop, whoop, whoop. This is how it fucking started, you know what I mean? This is who she is, this is who you are. You know what I mean? You guys don't have a chance in life to raise this boy, this baby boy, and I mean, the odds were stacked up against, and every single sign was true, you know. And it's unhumane, really, because I was going out there. Maybe can you imagine before I went out there, before we went out there to a conjugal visit, dog. Okay, can you imagine if we had some type of counseling that said, young Luck, you got a bone in your pants right now. I know, you're a couple days away from getting this conjugal visit. You want to fucking bust that motherfucking nut, baby. I know, it's the first thing on your motherfucking mind. Fuck the eggs, fuck the bacon, the real eggs and the real bacon that's on the motherfucking the menu that you're gonna be provided, that your girl paid for, right? You know, what if they gave you some type of counseling and said, bro, when you go out there, this is how you should navigate this shit. This is what you should do. This is what you're feeling right now. But let's think about how the female was feeling. You know, what she's been going through raising a baby, having a baby without you gone, you know, giving motherfuckers the intellectual intelligence to understand that this visit is not just for a nut, you stupid motherfucker, you horny fuck with the boner in your pants. You know, can you imagine if someone was there to just like before you went out there? And I think that's needed, dog, because I could have used that, bro. I could have used some guidance of going out there in that conjugal visit, dog, and not looking at that female like a fucking piece of fucking meat that I'm going to stick my dick in, bust a nut, and make some motherfucking eggs and motherfucking bacon, bro. You know? They would have taught me something of saying, hey, have the intellectual intelligence to understand that, you know what? That's not necessarily something that she's probably only wants, you know? Emotional intelligence is fucking huge, dog. And that's what I've been lacking for years. I might be lacking that right now, bro. Emotional intelligence, dog. You know? When you're brought up in a cold fucking world, bro, where your mom doesn't like you because you resemble your father. Right? Bro, what you said that, dog, you got me in the hook like a big fish, dog. You had a hot Cheeto on the hook, dog, and I love hot Cheetos, dog. Not supposed to eat them, but I love hot Cheetos, dog. You had a hot Cheeto on the hook, and I bit it like a big fish, dog. A big old sucker fish, dog. We need, bro, the system needs guidance. I mean, therapists. Why don't we have therapists on the yards, bro? Why is not a requirement, dog?
Right.
Why is there not a requirement? I mean, and all the money that they got, bro, why wouldn't they, why isn't it just one day out the fucking week, we go down the fucking theater, dog, and we pull out every single inmate, dog, and they have somebody to talk to,
Right.
bro? What do you got coming up? I got a board hearing. What do you got coming up? I got a conjugal visit. What do you got coming up? I got a pro date. What do you got coming up? I got a visit, right? Like, bro, like.
It's in the works.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
LA County, they're cracking down. The government has cracked down on the inhumane living conditions of the LA County jail, bro. They were showing pictures on the news I just watched recently, dog, of dudes laying on the floor. And if you ever laid on the floor, what are you lucky to have when you're laying on the floor? A roll of toilet paper, dog, to put on your fucking head, dog. Right? That's where I come from. That's what I remember. But then you got the homies. You got some homies like, oh, that fool fucking tore up, dog. Look at him, dog. He laying on the fucking floor in the corner underneath the motherfucking shit, dog. Crack the fuck out. He's kicking he's got my Elias, dog. He's kicking heroin. He's kicking methamphetamine, you know what I mean? And we in this fucking glass fucking dome fucking criticizing our own people in the same situation that we're in, homie. Oh, you better because you can stand up on the sit up on the motherfucking fucking metal or concrete fucking bench, dog. But this dude's on the floor, so you're better. But that's the mentality that we're taught, you know? I'm not good with the system, bro. I'm not good with where I came from, bro. I'm not good with where you came from, bro. You know what I mean? And I think there needs to be fucking a lot of reform, dog. You know, a lot of reform, you know?
Definitely.
But back to your story, brother. And this just, we've been off the podcast for a minute, dog. But with the things that you're saying, dog, really resonates with shit that I've been through, dog. You know what I mean? So I have no choice but to hit the ball back to you, dog. You know what I mean? With something more than just like, well, how did you feel? You know what I mean? You know, what was the next step?
Are you this therapist that you're talking about? Or what?
I might be, bro. I might be, dog. And that might be in my near future and shit, dog. You know, you never know, bro. You know, but I psychoanalyze myself, bro.
Right.
You know, and I psychoanalyze people that are sitting across from me, like yourself, dog. You know what I mean? And then when we can connect at this level, at this time in our lives like this, bro, I mean, I asked you if things got emotional for you bringing up this past, bro. Well, things get emotional for me for you bringing up your past. Mm-hmm. Why, dog? Because I can relate to it. And this is the difference between me and some other podcasts that can't relate to the next man sitting next to him, dog. You know what I mean? I've been through similar things, not to extent as some cats. We've had cats that have done 11 years, 20 years, 30 years, dog, and get out, dog. You know what I mean? You know, and there's only so much that I can, you know, relate to, dog, because there's levels in trauma, loss, right? Abuse. There's levels, bro. I mean, you ever go to prison, bro, and think you got it bad, bro?
Oh, of course.
And then you got a celly, dog, that has really been through some shit. And you're like, shit, I don't even want to share my shit with this fool. This motherfucker, god damn it, dog. You know? And so you're doing your 11 years, right? You said you did 11 years?
Yeah.
And so what was the transformation in your 11 years besides you educating yourself intellectually, obtaining these things that I was talking shit about in the beginning of the program, you know what I mean, which is, you know, certificates, but these are key. These are key in these type of scenarios. These are key. These are kids. These are individuals. That's a confident boost to obtain these fucking things, bro. and it pushes them in the right direction of self-worth, right? So now you're feeling self-worthy of something greater than this concrete cell that you're in.
And when my daughter was born, I had to make those changes, bro. I had to stop, really messing around. I had to stop and really think, what is my life gonna be like as I'm coming home? At that point I had 3 years left, right? I'm sitting in CRC, which is everyone in CRC is going home. But if anybody that knows CRC is it's where everything's at.
Drugs.
You have drugs, you got cell phones, you got politics, you got people think it's just
prostitutes.
Like, yeah, you got everything.
Oh, just fucking. Go ahead. Trying to catch you on that one, though. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And no. Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
And part of it is that how are you really gonna prepare to come home? What are you really looking for in resources and in tools that are gonna be out here, in employment opportunities, going back to college once you get out, like all these things, right? But you're trying to prepare yourself in the midst of ruckus, in the midst of
madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I've seen people come to CRC and become drug addicts there, going backwards, right? So knowing that I came from that lifestyle, I told myself, and problems my baby girl at that time, our kids don't know how much they change us, right? And that saved my life. Having my daughter really started making me focus on what life really has to offer.
The goal of getting out. Yeah.
Because now you could see it.
Yeah.
Now I could see it.
Purpose.
Now I could see, like, man, all I got to do is get out now, right? And one of the things that started happening naturally, I started hating the system. I started hating prison food. I started hating, the way people behaved in prison.
What did you hate about it? What really struck a nerve? And let's be transparent about it, bro.
I hated the fact that we had to follow a system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I hated the fact that, that there was really, while there was some educational programming in there, self-help groups and stuff like that, there's really no preparedness for you to. And at that moment, you got to take matters into your own hands.
Yeah.
When I talk about my growth of helping folks, really gain a perspective of how they can help themselves, started more in CRC. Now we're looking for resources. Now we're writing people. We're writing council members, legislators. We're writing community-based organizations, to get these resources. Because at that time, bro, we didn't have anything out here. There was nobody hiring ex-felons. Nobody that was going to hire you because you're on parole. Nobody's going to hire you because you got to check the box. And guess what? As soon as you check the box, it's game over. Everybody knows. You got to go through an agency to make sure that you try to get a job, right? You couldn't just go apply at Costco. Hey, guys, how you guys doing? Get suited up. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It was frowned upon.
It's frowned upon. Yeah.
It was frowned upon.
It was in the prison system. It's frowned upon you bettering yourself. If it's with religion or education.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct.
And so we managed to create a better environment for folks in there. We managed to take care of some of the young people that were going in there, right? Getting them under your wing, mentorship, this guidance that we've been talking about. That's what we're doing. We had to change the system for us, and then
for the ones that were willing to change,
the ones that were willing to change.
Yeah. Give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
Give them an outlet besides death row, besides Pelican Bay shoe, right?
Besides the revolving door.
Revolving door. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with Carlos Cervantes, everybody. Quick break. I gotta take a leak. I'm sorry. I gotta take a leak, though.
yeah, the devil's praying to me, and I help him go and get his way. You kept your word, boy, yeah, the devil said to me, and I can't wait to meet you one day. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you one day.
Hey, 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 hey. Emotions out of focus, I'm crawling at my lowest. Feet hit the streets like a high-speed pursuit. I'm wild when I move, burn it to your head, about to tighten up the noose. Bunch of clown faces blowing clouds of the roof. Woof, woof, hooters at the door, now they tryna run up in. I am not a guppy shark, stash everything. Dope in the pussy like a B of A deposit. Baby girl robotic, she gang bang ebonic. Hang with the wolves or you gotta pull your weight. Told the biggest tool, keep one in the chain. This is not a date, dance with the Mex, get your face in the cake.
Yeah, the devil's praying to me, and I help him go and get his way. You kept your word, boy, yeah, the devil said to me, and I can't wait to meet you one day. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you one day.
Hey, 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 hey. Pennies for my thoughts, I still can't make a dollar. Anybody home, Mr. 38 revolver. Holla, Lord, I need change. Heard you heal the hurt, I heard you kill the pain. Homie down the street, you left them dead in the dirt. Now his mama growing grays. Clouds in the skies leave tears on the grave. No smile on the face, just another t-shirt. Small funeral, see his girl when they flirt. Shit still fresh, still smell death. Bunch of drug addicts, can't wait to fuck next. Let the pussy rest, waiting on the prey like a goon in your home. It's 2 in the morning.
Yeah, the devil's praying to me, and I help him go and get his way. You kept your word, boy, yeah, the devil said to me, and I can't wait to meet you one day. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you one day.
Hey, 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 hey. Kodak pictures catch the redness in my eyes. The pookie virtualized got the devil in my mind. The highs, the lows, a suicide note. The drip of the nasal, feel the tip of the razor. I'm tired of the living, I'm tired of the sinning. I wanna be dead dog better than these meds. Got my girl gagged, keep acting stupid, gonna throw you through the glass. Broken windows, limo tinted nipple. She crazy, we crazy, another meth baby. I need to sober up, I'm tripping, she waking. I think I need some sleep, I'm losing my mind. Catch me while I leap.
I've been a bad man, yeah, the devil's praying to me, and I help him go and get his way. You kept your word, boy, yeah, the devil said to me, and I can't wait to meet you one day. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you one day.
Yeah, like, subscribe, motherfuckers.
I've been a bad man, yeah, the devil's praying to me, and I help him go and get his way.
Yeah,
You kept your word, boy.
hit that like,
The devil said
hit that
to
subscribe.
me, and I can't wait to meet you one day.
Let's get the likes up right now.
Yeah, I can't
Everybody hit that like button.
wait one day.
Everybody hit that like button. Don't play with it. We back. We've been off for like 3 weeks. We back. We're gonna be hitting you guys back to back with some motherfucking podcast. You know, Hood Stocks podcast, right? You know? I feel like the viewership is low today, but it's okay. It's okay. Salute to you guys. We love you guys. Everybody got us. Whew. Don Julio, baby. Why do you not drink?
Just stopped a year ago.
Was it?
It was getting in the way. It was really,
Yeah, it's getting in the way.
it's getting in the way.
Yeah,
It's getting out of hand. It's getting in the way. It was getting out of hand. I stopped being who I was when I got out because of it, you know. And I feel like, I feel better now. It's been a year, a little over a year. And this whole year it's been difficult. It wasn't easy, So I started getting influenced by folks that are sober. And I started seeing how they felt about life. And I started seeing how much growth and development like I could really do for myself, not for others, not, the environments. I've been around the environments and everything. And I started feeling better about myself. I started feeling clear-headed again, because I eventually got out of prison.
Let's talk about the day you got out of prison and the days leading up to you get out of prison.
CRC, and CRC, I got the great opportunity to meet a lot of great people there.
How do you meet great people in prison?
I always believe that great minds kind of gravitate towards each other.
Okay.
Right? So
but excuse me, brother.
go ahead.
But in great minds, they gravitate towards each other in prison to a positive movement or a positive outlet. Are those looked at in general population as weak minds?
At that point, my boy, it didn't really matter to me.
Okay.
At that
But
point,
in general, though.
yes.
In general speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
Because
when let's be transparent. Let's be thorough about this. If you're in prison and all of a sudden God strikes you with an enlightenment, right? Let's say an enlightenment of changing the ways, navigating a different way in this ocean that's filled with fucking killer whales and sharks and sucker fishes. You got certain individuals that don't subscribe to that, bro. They don't subscribe to getting better, right? Mentally getting better. They don't subscribe, bro, to getting better physically, mentally. They want to keep you right there with them. Oh, what is the old saying? What is the old saying? Anybody in here? Thank you. Misery loves company, bro. Misery loves company, bro. Right? And so this is the you said several times the something of the beast. Right? This is the mechanism. These are the gears that fuel these environments. Is this bravado, this masculinity, this self-destruction. The more you fucking self-destruct, the more respect you're gonna get in that environment. Now, what it does for you in regards to a pro date or getting out and all the above is, I guess it doesn't matter.
Right.
In these eyes, staring out the fucking darkness. You know what I mean? You see the tunnel, right? You see the dark tunnel, and you see all these eyes looking out. You can't see the structure of the face, but you see their eyes, and they're piercing eyes. So when you're in this environment trying to change your life, when you're having you're not the same person that went in that you're on now, say 10, 11, 12, 13, 20, 30 years later, then you're frowned upon as a human being in this world. Why? You know what I mean? Why? You know what I mean? Like, shit, dog. Like, this shit pops up, I'm gonna still be right there, dog. I'll pop, you know what I mean? But right now I gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I'm gonna still get, dog, but I need to do this for myself, for my sanity. But does sanity have a price? In this environment, it does. It has a price. It has a price of, you're no longer looking for acceptance.
Right.
Right? You're no longer looking for acceptance. So what got you in there was looking for acceptance. You know what, bro? Having this podcast, dog, you know what I mean? Sometimes, dog, I don't even know if it's really fucking worth it, dog. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes having this podcast and promoting like how I feel in life right now, dog, you got to respect the game. And if you're in it, get in it. If you're out it, get out it, dog. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, dog, you got to respect the game because initially you got into the game because you wanted a piece of the game. The past 3 weeks, bro, that I've been off the podcast, I've been just like, you know, I've been in my own head, bro. In your own head, dog, is my own head is complicated, bro.
Right.
You gotta respect any man that is willing to die for it, right? You gotta respect it, dog. And do I respect it? 100%, dog. I just want to present options because in life we have options. And so while you were doing time, you knew that you had options. And you were, when you value your life, it's easy math, bro. It's when you value your life, it's easy math, bro, right? Like, do I want to die? Do I want to do life in prison? Or do I want to live a cool life and take care of kids and just be easy, go to restaurants and be cool like that? Like, that sounds appealing to me. That might not sound appealing to young kids because young kids are in this fog, right? You don't see clearly. Your brain isn't fully developed. And so in life, there is options. Now, you chose an option, and your option was to have greater ambitions than this environment, right? You know, so you had a child, you had a daughter. It's crazy the way that, who gives daughters. Like God said, I'm gonna give you a daughter, you little bitch ass motherfucker. You fucking all them bitches and shit, dog. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give you a daughter, you punk ass motherfucker. You know what I mean? God is crazy if you believe in God, right? If you believe in God, if you believe in a superior being, right? I mean, when it comes to religion, we talked about you educating yourself and this and that. You know what I mean? When it comes to a superior being, any religious beliefs?
I don't have any religious beliefs like that. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe I gravitate towards people that have a kind heart, a good heart. You know what I mean? The good people that I believe at one point, you know, with my cellies, right? Like they're really the reason why I'm here. The education that was given to me, the wisdom that was given to me, you know, not everybody in prison. See, prison, the whole mentality and the homie thing and the structure and the politics, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Right? Like you get into it, you're going to be 100% into it or you're going to be out 100%, you know? So you got to really think about what your life is going to look like in the yard. You know, you're going to really think about how you're going to step out of that yard, you know? You know you got to get out prepared. You know you're going to, but that's with everything, my boy. That's with everything in life after that. If you want to own a business, you got to be 100% with it. If you're going to lace up your boots, you got to lace up your money, let's go. You got to write a proposal. You got to do all those things legitly if you want a real business, right? And it's the same philosophy that holds when we're doing something bad, right? So I just decided every day we wake up, if we wake up,
Yeah.
with two things, you know, with an opportunity and choices. That's two things.
It's powerful.
You know, and that opportunity is going to come with that choice that you made. If you make the right choice for yourself, for who you are, you're going to get the right opportunities. If not, you already know what you got coming, right? That double-edged sword is always going to kick you in the ass. I mean, I've been, you know, when I wake up every morning and I look at myself and I look at my house and I look at where I wake up in my bed, bare feet, I'm touching my wood floor.
How does that feel?
how you feel that gratefulness automatically because you know where you've been. And you know what you had to do to change the things that you needed to change within yourself so you could start changing the community around you, right? So you could start changing your household. So you could start teaching your children how to really grow up in an environment that is safe for them, you know? Because I remember how it was for me.
Wasn't safe.
You know?
Yeah.
I ended up doing therapy for about a year and a half.
How did that go?
My therapist told me something that blew my fucking mind. That by the time I ended up incarcerated, I had moved from different, cities, from different homes, from different houses, so much. We weren't able to count like how many times we moved. That my most stable living was while I was in prison.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, my boy.
Some people can't break from that foundation.
So it's hard to break from that foundation.
Yeah.
It's hard to break from that establishment, that mentality, right? Now you got to work harder for it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was one of the things that I had to do is promise myself that I got to get out of prison.
Yeah.
And when I did, I made it out. And when I made it out, I started seeing the other side of that sword, right? The reality of things, right? First of all, I grew up traumatized, in this environment. I went to prison. It became the same thing, bro, or worse. It's not like you become a better person when you're in prison. It's that double-edged sword. You become a better fucking criminal. You become that person that they talk about on the news, that monster, right? But you also become that better person for yourself because you know what you got to do to not do people scandalous, to not take advantage, to not manipulate the situation, whether it's the homies or not, right? You know what you have to do to really take care of yourself at that point because you know what you got to do to survive, So you're in this survival mode as you're going, every day in and day out. What is going to be your opportunity is based on that fucking choice that you make.
Choices.
And that choice that you make, it ain't going to be the same when I was 16 years old, right?
No.
It's no longer going to be the same. And one of the things that I promised myself, I'm never going to be that person, that illiterate, that uneducated, to go through a system like the justice system and be taken advantage of again.
Fuck no.
You know what I mean? That started changing the trajectory of how I thought and how I did my actions.
Yeah.
And from there on, I knew as soon as I got out that I was never going to go back.
Yeah.
And if I did go back, it was to enlighten people, to bring hope to the people, that people could make it, right? People know, that, oh, fuck, they ain't no hope, But since we've been out here working in the community, you know Caesar, man. Like,
what is hope?
Hope is something to look forward to. Hope is something that's different from that mental state of mind, that point where like, oh my God, I'm never gonna get out. We all have that. Whether I had a life sentence or I had a determined sentence, I knew I was gonna get out. But at the same time, while you're in prison, you don't know if you're gonna get out until you walk out of the prison. Even if you went to board, you got a board hearing, you got found suitable, you're not going to get it until you step out of that prison.
Let's go. The day you walked out of prison. Let's go. The day you walked out of prison.
And fortunate enough, my wife and my daughter were waiting for me in the parking lot, right?
How did that feel?
It felt like now I could start living a life.
What's living in life?
Living a life for me, it felt.
I mean, for a dude that's been down that long at a young age, I mean, what is the definition of living in life? I mean, like, what is your definition of that? Your perception of living in life, dog, at that stage? Not right now, but at that stage.
At that moment, going to the DMV for the first time.
Yeah.
At 27 years old.
Yeah.
And getting a permit and an ID, something I never had, right? Going and filling out an application at Costco, right?
Did you get the job?
I didn't get the job. They didn't hire me because I was an ex-felon at the time. And going grocery shopping, my boy, you know, going and picking out your produce, right? What are you gonna eat for the day? Your carne asada instead of somebody just bringing you, you know, this whatever it is, right?
Let's go.
The value that comes up the moment I stepped out of my life made me realize that whatever I had just went through, it was well worth it. Because I came out untouched. I came out a better person, right? But I also came out with ambition. I also came out with this fire. I also came out motivated to continue, you know, the struggles out here, right? Yeah. And today, you know, I've been out 11 years now. It's been 11 years. I flipped my sentence from what I did inside to now out here in the community. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I feel there's nothing you can accomplish. You know, you talked earlier about taking risk. You talked earlier about, hey, you know, people got to start a business or people got to start living up to their standards, whatever that standard is, you know. Today I take risk. Today I've quit jobs from one day to another to get to another job. Doesn't matter the pay, doesn't matter what really is going on in my household, you know.
Self-fulfillment.
But because I know that I'm not going to lose. I already lost. Yeah. I already lost. I started a business, right? Because I know I wasn't going to lose. I bought a house because I knew I wasn't going to lose. It's not like there's no losing no more. There's no losing. Anybody that knows me will tell you there's no losing no more. There's moving forward. There's looking forward for things that are going to be magical. I'm living a life I never even imagined. Whether you think that's, you know, being a pea brain, you know, small brain type of dude, right? No. I lived a life. I'm living a life I couldn't imagine because it's that's how good it's getting. You know, you stay committed to the things that you believe in. You change the belief system that you have, right? Double-edged sword. This fucking prison system teaches you how to do things, how to be things that you don't want to be. So you got to reaccustom yourself to thinking that way, right? You're institutionalized. You're getting out. They've been providing housing, food, you know, clothing. You know, they want you to go back.
Why do they want you to go back?
It's money. Yeah. It's a money system. I was worth $19,000 when I went to prison at 18 years old. When I got out, I was worth $97,000 a year.
They were making from you.
They were making from me. I didn't see a damn dime. I mean, I seen the $200.
Let's go.
And for me, it's teaching those values to the people that are coming home. Yeah. Right? Because it didn't end there. You know, you grow passion, right? You grow compassion. You grow kindness for folks. You know, you see somebody crossing the street, elderly, you're going to try to get out of that car and you're going to help them. You see somebody with a flat tire, that's how kind people are.
That's how I am.
The fucking world out here, the free world is rude as fuck. They don't care if they bump into you or not. They're not going to say, hey, dispensa, homie, like I bumped into you, bro. They're not, you know? So you got to rethink of how rewire yourself to make sure that you give that legacy of whatever you learned in prison. There was a lot of goodness too. You know, there was a lot of respect. There was a lot of honesty there. There was a lot of loyalty there, right? Because that's what it was. That's what it was. You were loyal to the time that you were doing for yourself. And now you got to get out and brand a bit different world, right? And how do you do it? You don't have any support. You can't get a fucking job, right? You're going to the DMV and trying to get an ID, you know, and it's hard for you because you don't got the documents that you need. So we started creating a system for that. We started creating a system for the people that are coming home to make sure that they have a pathway that was better than mine so they could succeed, whatever success means to them. Because it means different to different people. You know, just by me staying out, people might think, oh shit, this fool's successful, right? That's not the reality. The reality is that everyone is different. The reality is that everyone has a name in prison. Everybody has a life in prison. Everybody is a person in prison. Everybody was somebody's son in prison. And that's where I come into play for me, for my life, what my life is today. And you got to develop purpose. You got to develop that purpose, because without that purpose, you might lose yourself again, right? And how are you really going to stay committed to the work that you do if you don't have a purpose for it? If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love going to work and making sure that you want to do better for other folks, right? I'm a Cervantes, bro. That's my last name, right? And I'm known. I'm a servant. That's what my last name is. I went for the money at one point. You know, I got out, I was working in construction, doing really good, right? But it wasn't for me. What really gravitated for me, being there for people, you know? And then just to add a little bit more to that, my wife's a school teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're a service to the people. That's what we're here for. That's why originally, when I decided, like, hey, you know, what is the path that I want to be doing? I want to continue to help people, our brothers and our sisters that are still incarcerated, and as they're coming home.
Let's go. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So with that said, the Ride Home Project, how did that evolve? How did that come into play?
I was very fortunate to come home to a support system that was a little different than just the hood. You know, there was formerly incarcerated folks that are coming home and wanted to do something different with their lives. They wanted to give back to the community. The first thing that we could ever think about anybody that's coming home, right, especially, you know, former lifers, long-termers, is like, man, I want to go and mentor youth in juvenile hall, right? I want to go to the high schools and get the youth that are fucking up, right? And long and behold, you know, I was one of those kids that when I got out, 27 years old, very young at that time, you know, a lot of fire, a lot of motivation. 2 weeks later, you know, I'm in a juvenile hall mentoring kids that were the same situation that I was in, facing a life sentence in prison, right? And I just think for myself, how can I get involved? Luckily, you know, before ARC was even born, I had been a part of this movement, you know, and I met, you know, Professor Michael Romano from Stanford Law School's 3 Strikes Project, who created this program at one point, was the individual that introduced me to this work. At one point, it was just a pilot program, my boy. It was, hey, we're going to change laws. You know, we're going to be able to contribute, you know, to the population that's inside. So Proposition 36 was written in 2012. And when we passed it here in California, automatically 2,200 people were due for release.
That's amazing.
And this is Proposition 36 for the 3 Strikes Law. That 3rd strike was for a nonviolent offense, right? And what does that mean? That meant you got the 3rd strike for stealing a pizza,
Yeah.
for stealing a pair of socks, for having drug paraphernalia. That's what you got the 3rd strike. 25 to life. You got 25 to life for that. Because what? You might have been, you know, a drug addict at one point. You needed rehab. You didn't need to go to prison. You needed rehab. We don't have rehab in the state of California.
No.
Correction system.
Even though they got the CDC-R now.
Right, exactly. Right? So 2,200 people were due for release, and we piloted a program where it was going to be formerly incarcerated people picking up individuals that were coming home after spending 15, 20, 25 years in prison. Saying, hey, welcome back to the community.